Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. My name is Ahmad Nur Shahir bin Sazali. You can call me Mr. Shahir, and I will be your instructor for this HTT280 course code, which is Geography and Culture in Tourism. And for this part, right, I will cover for topic 9, which touching on the tourism and culture in Middle East part. And for this Middle East, I only cover for two countries, alright, which is United Arab Emirates, or popularly known as UAE, and another one is Saudi Arabia country. And but before we go further, right, let me explain to you guys the learning objectives of this topic 9. Right, so basically we have three objectives, right? Once we have completed this topic 9, right, I'm expecting each and every one of you will be able to identify and recognize tourist attractions in United Arab Emirates. And secondly, you will be able to identify and recognize tourist attractions in Saudi Arabia. And last but not least, you will be able to distinguish the different cultures among the countries, among these two countries, UAE and also Saudi Arabia. Right? Although these UAE and Saudi Arabia have similar things in terms of culture, but there are few things or differences between these two countries in terms of culture, right? So let us explore more after this. And this is the table of contents, right? First, we will look into the physical and tourism product, and secondly, I will explain to you guys or share with you guys about the United Arab Emirates in terms of peoples, cultures, and also customs, right? Customs can be divided into several parts, which is birth, wedding, death, and etc. And we also look into the gastronomy part, right? Food and beverages that being consumed, right, by this United Arab Emirates community. Right, next about the traditional costume, and followed by major festivals that being celebrated by the UAE community. Then we will also look into the dining and business etiquette, and last but not least, on how these UAE people greet and communicate with uh, other people or among themselves. Okay, let me start with the physical features of the Middle East. Right, as the background, the Middle East is characterized by three important geographic zones. Right, first is the fertile coastal plains near the Mediterranean and other seas, and the famous Fertile Crescents nourished by the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and of course the Nile Valley, which located in Egypt. And this geographical diversity influences the way people live, farm, and develop their cities, which in turn shapes the tourism attractions. And next, I will explain briefly about the UAE flags, right? And for your information, UAE flags consist of four different colors, which is black, green, white, and also red. And these colors bring different meanings or symbolize different meanings, right? First and foremost, let us look into the black color, right? The black color symbolize both the oil resources and the struggles of early Islamic history, right? And for green color, green representing fertility and the greenery of UAE. And then for the red color, it symbolizes the blood and valor of wars, represents the Ottomans. And lastly, for the white color, is symbolizing the peace and purity. Okay, next. Most of the United Arab Emirates is a desert wasteland, especially the Rub Al Khali with its rolling dunes, right? The Haja Mountains rise in the northeast, offering cooler weather, and generally, summers are extremely hot and humid, while winters are milder. And the country's highest point is Jabal Libir, and the UAE has no significant rivers or lakes of note. Numerous small islands and inlets are situated offshore in the Persian Gulf. And last but not least, the United Arab Emirates climate features extreme heat because of its sandy landscape, although it is cooler in the eastern mountains. Okay, for the facts, UAE weather is sunny all the year round, and it is the hottest, right, in between the month of June and September. It is very hot during the day along with high humidity levels, and the coastal regions in UAE are discomfortingly humid. The cooler months are characterized by infrequent spells of rainfall during the months of December and March. And United Arab Emirates climate is characterized by soaring temperatures and extreme humidity. Alright, as we all know, each and every country in this world have its own capital city, and the capital city of UAE is Abu Dhabi. This Abu Dhabi sits off the mainland on an island in the Persian Gulf and focus on oil exports and commerce. Right? For your information, UAE or this Abu Dhabi is very rich for its oil, natural resources. So that is why oil has become the main products for their exports trading businesses, right? And in terms of architecture, UAE is also famous, and there are some of the popular buildings in a form of skylines, modern towers, and also shopping mega centers here, right? And for the currency of United Arab Emirates is Emirati dirham, or also known as AED. Like any other countries in this world, right? United Arab Emirates also have people from different ethnics or races, and this is the population based on percentage, right? The largest ethnics or race that live in this UAE is Arab people, which consists of 48.1%. And then next one is the Emirati, which consists of 12.2%, followed by Bedouin 9.4%, Egyptian Arab 6.2%, Omani Arab 4.1%, Saudi Arab 4%. South Asian is the second largest, which consists of 35.7%, Pashtun 7.1%, Balochi and Malayali also 7.1%, Iranian 5%, Filipino 3.4%, White or European 2.4%, and 5.4% are people from other races or ethnics. Alright, next, the official religion in UAE is Islam, and majority of them, which consists of 90% or over 90% of the Emirati population, are Sunni Islam, and approximately 5 to 10% of them are Shia Muslims. But however, there are also other religions being practiced by people who live in UAE, such as Christianity and other type of religions like Hindu and Buddhist. Alright, next we move on to the cultural characteristics of UAE, right? The national language of UAE is Arabic, right? The Gulf dialect of Arabic is spoken native by the Emirati people. However, there are also some other languages widely used by UAE community or people, such as Persian, Hindi, Urdu, Pashto, and also Tagalog. Right? And in terms of vocal and body language, people here may communicate with a vocal emphasis, volume, and body language that others might associate with being angry or upset. Responding to anger or seriousness with light laughter or a smile is common practices here. Right, next, I will share with you about the customs of UAE people. Right, so first let us look at the birth customs. Right, so Adhan. Right, Adhan is also known as a call to prayer. So usually when a baby is being born, right, The adhan or the call to prayer will be whispered into the baby's right ear by the father, right? Then for the baby's taste, all right, should be something sweet. Then parents used to soften a date and then rub the gums of the newborn with it shorter after the birth, right? And then many events take place on or after the seventh day. So now, for the seventh day, also this UAE will perform an akikah uh, events. All right. Then during this akikah, it will involve the slaughter of one or two sheep or goats, and it will be sacrificed by the father or close relatives. Right. The meat then will be distributed to family members and also neighbors, right? It is traditional but not required that after 1 week the baby's head is shaved. So meaning to say after 1 week the hair of the baby will be shaved, all right? And then the next one is circumcision, and this circumcision event will be practiced uh, and take place anytime before puberty. Okay, next, let me explain to you about the wedding customs that being practiced by the UAE people or community, especially among those Muslim community, right? For the traditional wedding celebration, it will last for 7 days, and the wedding celebration will start with the marriage proposal ceremony, which also called as al-kauta. And during this ceremony, the groom's father will ask for the bride's hands from her father, right? And then followed by a marriage contract agreement called al-akad, or also known as akad, right? So during this al-akad, the groom will give his promises, right? Especially to take care of the bride, right? To be loyal to the bride, and also to love the bride authentically, right? Or sincerely, right? And then once the wedding date is fixed, right? The bride rests at home for 40 days prior to the wedding, and also the brides will pampered by her family members with healthy foods, and the entire body is smeared with traditional oils and perfumes from head to toe, and the bride hair is also will be cleansed with flower extracts to nourish them. And then last but not least, the groom presents the bride with perfumes, jewelry, silk materials, and other important items before the wedding, from which she creates her extravagant wedding dress, which is called adabia. And for your informations, right, in Emirati weddings, there will be a separate ceremonies for man and woman. The reason behind it is that so the Muslim women who wear hijab can celebrate without worrying about being seen by unknown men at the party. So basically, right, in Islam, we have been taught that woman body parts cannot be revealed, right? Some of the body part cannot be revealed to be watched or to be seen by the men, all right? So that is why they are practicing to have separate ceremonies for men and women, right? And then the men's party also have their separate dancing and enjoyment session. They wear a traditional simple white dress called kandora, as you can see on the image that being attached on the slides, right? Kandora. And the men will stand in a line holding a thin gold can in one hand when they are dancing, right? Then sometimes the men at the front and end of the line carry a small rifle, and then they all dance to Emirati music tunes. Right, next, I'm going to talk about death customs, right? For the death customs, burials are done at the soonest time possible and preferably within 1 day, right? Based on the Islamic principles or Islamic rules. The cremation or ashes dispersion is prohibited, right? And then, for your information, soon after the death, right, the gas al mayit or ritual bath of that body will take place, right? For the process, the entire body of the deceased will be washed with water and cleansed, and then three ablutions will be performed. Right, first the water mixed with seed al-bari leaves, and water mixed with shampoo, and or also pure water only. So meaning to say they can choose either three of these uh, practices or method, right? Then after the washing ceremony, the body of the deceased will be carried to Salat al-Janazah, or for prayer performance, right? Or the funeral, where the ritual prayer is performed. After the deceased being washed and being performed the prayer, the deceased will be bring to the cemetery for the dafn or burial, right? The deceased is carried on the shoulders to the grave, buried in a hole, leaning to the right side and facing the direction of the Qibla, which is the Kaaba, which is in Mecca, and finally covered with a layer of rock tiles and soil. And in the UAE, funerals are segregated, right? Meaning to say the man accompany the body to the grave site only. Only when the burial is finished, then the women are allowed to visit it. And during the condolence ceremonies, the Quran is read for the soul of the deceased. The condolence period lasts for 3 days. Right now, moving on to the gastronomy part. Right, under this gastronomy, I will share with you 6 different types of local cuisines that usually being cooked by UAE local community. Right, so the first one is balalit. This balalit is also known as balitat. Right, so this balitat is a combination of sweet and salty elements. It is a breakfast dish made with an omelette and vermicelli. Sugar, cinnamon, saffron, cardamom, orange blossom, and rose water are also added for flavor. And then for information, spices are also added to the sweetened vermicelli, and the whole preparation then will be topped with an thick egg omelette. Right, other than balalit, we also have a shakshuka. Right, shakshuka is just scrambled eggs with tomato and pepper. On top of the tomato, there will be a thyme and coriander. Instead of scrambled eggs, there is a different shakshuka style with poached eggs. Shakshuka is a simple and nutritious breakfast dish that can be made with everyday ingredients and a single skillet. So meaning to say there will be no problem to cook this shakshuka every day, right? Then the third one is chabab bread, or also known as Emirati pancake, right? Not only Western countries, this UAE also have its own local pancake, right? Which is called chabab bread. And this chabab bread is a thin, crisp, and sweet bread that looks and feels a lot like an American pancake. The main ingredients of chabab bread are flour, egg, melted butter, and also yeast. Right, the fourth one is harith. Right, harith is a wheat porridge with meat and ghee. The wheat must be cooked for 3 hours in salted water until it fluffs up, and to get the very good texture. Right, that will take about 3 hours, right, which is a very long period of time. Right, and then the meat is added to the mix and heated to form a thick porridge. Right, moving on to next one, which is makbous. Makbous can be prepared with chicken, lamb, or fish. The main flavorings are cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, lemon, and sometimes saffron. Right, makbous is in fact an Emirati adoption of Indian biryani. And of course, I'm pretty sure each and every one of you have experienced eating this biryani rice that being made by Indian people, right? And then last but not least is lamb ozi, right? Lamb ozi is a delicious and much coveted dish in Emirati cuisine. Ozi is rice, right, prepared with spice and lamb meat. Almonds and pine nuts are also part of the final preparation of this lamb ozi. We will look into the traditional costume of UAE people, right? We have male and female traditional costumes. First and foremost, we will look into the male traditional costume first, right? For male traditional costume of UAE people, we have the gatras and shimaks, agal, and also bisht or kandura, right? First, we will look into the gutras and shimaks first, right? The gutra is a piece of scarf, right? Protects the male's head and face from the scorching heat of the desert. So as we know, right, UAE is a hot country, so that is why they will wear this gatra to protect themselves from the heat, right? They would also cover their faces with it when the dust is too high, right? And then for shimaks, right, shimak is a red checks of piece of scarf, right, on the white scarf. Okay. And then for agal, right, agal is a black or white robe like band placed over the head to hold the gatra in place, right? So meaning to say this agal will make sure or will tighten the gatras so that the gatras will stay in the shape and will not fall down from their head. It is one enormous circular band that is folded to form two rings when worn, right? And then this agal will usually be worn during the formal occasion. Right next, bisht, right? Bisht, a ceremonial sleeveless cloak worn over the kandura that is either black or beige and trimmed with golden or silver embroideries. So, meaning to say this beach will be wear on the outer part of the attire, right? And then kandura, also referred as tobe, right? This kandura is a long-sleeved ankle-length garment. So as you can see on the picture, right, the white color, right, the white color that being worn by the kids and also the father is called kandura, and then the black color and with the golden list on the cloth is called bisht, right? Then moving on to the female traditional costume, right? We have abaya, kaftan or jalabia, and also hijab and burqa, right? For abaya, right, it is an elegant, loose-fitting, flowing black cloak, right? The abaya is always worn on top of other clothes. So, mean to say this abaya is the most outer part of the female attire for UAE people, right? Then we also have kaftan and jalabia. So this kaftan is a female version of the kandura, right? Highly decorated with embroideries and come in a plethora of colors. So this kaftan is a cloth or an attire or apparel that have ankle length of dress, right? Then next is hijab or burqa, right? Hijab and burqa is a different type of headgear, right? Or can say as scarf lah, right? So this hijab is the umbrella term covering different head dresses worn by Muslim women, and the hijab covers the neck and hair according to Islamic teachings, right? And for burqa, a face veil covering most of the face except the eyes. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the major festivals that usually being celebrated by UAE people. Alright, so the first one is UAE Awafi Festival. So this Awafi Festival is an annual celebration of the culture and history of the Union, mostly in the form of outdoor sports, making it one of the few traditional festivals of United Arab Emirates. Right, and this event or festival will be held in summer every year, and this festival is mostly famous for its various competitions to scale the tallest sand dunes in various kinds of improvised vehicle. So there's a lot type of vehicles will be ride, right, will be ride by the UAE people, such as scrambler, four-wheel drive, and etc. The next one is Eid Mubarak, right? This Eid Mubarak festival is one of the most important religious festivals in UAE, right? And then Eid marks the end of the holy months of Ramadan, when every Muslim observes fast. Right, on the third for the third festival is National Day. So of course, every country have its own national day. Same goes to UAE, right? And the Union of Six Emirates is celebrated every year as the National Day festival to celebrate the coming into being of United Arab Emirates on the 2nd of December. Right, and last but not least is Dubai International Film Festival. Right, for this Dubai Film Festival, it is a major hotspot for cinema lovers from across the region and Europe, and many airline Hollywood stars, producers, and directors turn up for screening at various places in Dubai during these festivals. Interesting, isn't it? Okay, next, I'm going to talk about dining and business etiquette of UAE people, right? So, dining in the UAE is a very social affair and can be a means to doing business as well, right? So, even though you are doing business with UAE people and then you think you're going to be late, it is still considered a polite, right? If you are late 15 minutes, right? But make sure you will not being late more than 15 minutes lah. And then if you're going to be late, please make sure you inform them earlier, right? And then try to expect to eat with the right hand, because according to the Muslims that live in UAE, right, eating with the right hand is considered as a clean practice, right? Clean practice. And then it is dirty if you use your left hand to eat, right? But however, if you are left-handed, it is acceptable to eat with a utensil in the left hand, right? And then some families prefer to be seated on cushions on the floor. So that is why if you enter any UAE community house, right, ataupun home, right, so you can see there will be cushions provided on the floor, right? And then it is not considered polite to decline the offer or more food. So let's say the host or the UAE people try to offer you more foods in their home, right? It is better to accept the foods rather than decline, right? And if you are eating with utensils, place the cutlery facing up in the middle of the plate on finishing the meal. And if dining in a restaurant, give more than the service charges, right? Up to 10% is acceptable. And then move on to the last slide. I think this is our last slide, right? So this last slide is touching on the greetings and communication styles. So these are some of the Arabic words that you can memorize and then you can practice when you are visiting people in UAE, right? The first one is Ahlan wa Sahlan, right? Or simply being pronounced as Ahlan. So Ahlan is equivalent of hello in English, right? So this can be used to greet anyone irrespective of the time of the day. And then this Ahlan is a more casual way of saying Ahlan wa Sahlan, right? Next is Marhaba. So Marhaba brings the meaning of welcome in English. And then this one is also used to welcome anyone at any time. So you can use Marhaba or Ahlan wa Sahlan anytime you want to greet people, right? And then the third one is Sabah al Khair. So this is the meaning of good morning in English, right? And then this is a very formal way of greeting, right? Sabah al Khair, right? So if you want to say good morning to someone in Arabic language, you can say Sabah al Khair, right? Then for the fourth one is Misa Al Hai. Al Hai. So this Misa Al Hai means good evening or a beautiful evening in English, right? Then last one is Tisbah Al Hai, right? So this Tisbah Al Hai meaning has nothing to do with good night, right? Arabs greet people instead of good night. So this phrase is roughly brings the meaning of wake up to a nice morning, right? The wish is for the next day. But even though it is for the next day, they will wish or say this Tisbah al Khair the night before the next day. Alright, that is all about United Arab Emirates. Thank you so much for your attention. See you guys in part 2 where I'm going to share about Saudi Arabia country. Thank you so much for your attention.